When do we die? Is it the last time our heart beats? Or the last breath we take? Is it the final piece of information our brain absorbs before it shuts down forever? This is the last thing the space probe Cassini saw before it died. 5 minutes after this photo was taken, 1,500 kilometers above the top cloud layer of Saturn, Cassini broke into a tumble, burning up under the pressures of orbital entry. Back home on Earth, scientists in NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory waited for what they knew was coming, as the object many of them had dedicated the last 20 years of their life to hurtled into a gas giant 1.5 billion miles away. Cassini had just concluded the final stretch of its grand finale, a series of loops around the planet and its moons, getting closer than ever before, capturing its own fraction of the cosmos in greater detail than many thought imaginable. In doing so, it had burned every last bit of its fuel, and as a final act of sacrifice, it plunged into the planet it spent its life studying, so it would not contaminate any of Saturn's potentially life-harboring moons. At 4:55 a.m. Pacific time, Cassini flatlined. Julie Webster, the head of spacecraft operations, one of the few among the team who refused to call Cassini a he or a she, spoke into reality what they all already knew.
So that would be the end of the spacecraft.
But it was more than a spacecraft. To many of them, Cassini's death was as real and raw as the loss of a loved one. They had guided it on its journey. They had woken up in the middle of the night to solve its problems, relaying messages over unfathomable distances. They had learned the ins and outs of Cassini, its strengths, its weaknesses, its quirks. It had relied on them, and perhaps in some way many of them had come to rely on it. When Cassini died, there were scattered tears among those assembled. They exchanged hugs, handshakes, and congratulations. In Cassini's tenure among the stars, they had succeeded at almost every turn, accomplishing more than anyone could have dreamed of. They learned about the atmosphere of Titan, a moon with methane oceans and a weather cycle similar to Earth's. They discovered the jets of vapor that sprayed from the icy crust of the moon Enceladus, hinting at the vast watery oceans hidden below. They captured Saturn's image in greater detail than had ever been seen before. The end of Cassini's mission was a joyous occasion, a celebration of achievement, but it was also deeply melancholic. It was goodbye. In the aftermath, some of them moved on quickly, but others found themselves deeply grieving the loss of their beloved spacecraft and the people it had brought together. They weren't alone. Across the world, others had gotten invested in the fate of this lonely traveler, soaring on the far side of the cosmos. NASA's frequent updates on Cassini's progress connected people with it. The short documentary they made pulled on heartstrings. Strangers found themselves in Cassini, and when Cassini died, they too found themselves in tears. What were they mourning? Was it a machine, wiring and metal and code, or a bundle of scientific instruments, or something else? Something more? In his book, Love's Executioner and Other Tales of Psychotherapy, the existential psychiatrist Irvin D. Yalom wrote, "Someday soon, perhaps in 40 years, there will be no one alive who has ever known me. That's when I will be truly dead, when I exist in no one's memory. I thought a lot about how someone very old is the last living individual to have known some person or a cluster of people. When that person dies, the whole cluster dies too, vanishes from the living memory. I wonder who that person will be for me, whose death will make me truly dead. Soma is a game about death, coping with death, trying to escape it, learning what it really means to die. Past the sci-fi and the monsters, the chase sequences and the body horror, the most terrifying thing about Soma isn't what is there, but what isn't. In the year 2104, Earth's surface has been ravaged by a comet strike comparable to the one that wiped out the dinosaurs, leaving the inhabitants of the underwater research station Pathos 2 the presumable last humans alive on Earth. But when we arrive on Pathos 2, it is immediately clear that things have gone horribly, horribly wrong. Large swaths of the station are dark, running only on emergency power. A strange, viscous liquid oozes from the walls. Glowing membranes sprout from corners, coating screens and machinery. Upsilon, the part of the station we wake in, despite being structurally intact, is seemingly absent of life. And we too, are we alive? We begin the game as Simon Jarrett, a man who was diagnosed with a terminal brain condition after a deadly car accident in 2015. Desperately in search of a cure, fleeing the looming specter of death, we turn to unconventional means, a brain scan on the cutting edge of science. If it goes well, a treatment plan could be formulated that would be tailored exactly to our injury. But life, unlike death, can never be counted on.
It's just a scan. It'll hurt about as much as getting your picture taken.
Indians thought cameras would steal their souls.
Is that so? Well, let's hope they're wrong.
We wake in this place, this research station, with no memory of how we got there. Everyone we know, everything we know, our entire life on the surface, gone. It isn't long until we find out that the real Simon Jarrett is also gone. We are a copy of him. The scan taken back in 2015, implanted into a synthetic body. The treatment plan failed. He died not long after. All the people who remembered him, gone, and yet, in some way, Simon lives. Until recently in human history, our figurative second death was never far from the first. Aside from happening upon a box of photos or a journal that belonged to a long-gone relative, there were very few ways to rediscover what was lost. Time swallowed us, wholly and completely. If the body dies but the soul lives on in the hearts of those who love us, then our second death was never far behind. Nowadays, though, resources for finding lost family members and genealogical history abound. You can send a genetic sample in the mail to find out where your ancestors lived. You can dig through archives of newspapers and documents categorized and stored online, scouring for names and references hundreds of years old. What was once dead has been churned through, dredged to the surface. My dad, when he was digging through our family's ancestral history, happened upon a man who had an outsized footprint for someone of his time. His name was Alexander Murdoch, and he was a farmer in Scotland, specifically Hilton in the parish of Catter in the mid-19th century. He was, by all regards, a normal farmer for the time he lived in, with one quirk. He happened to be extremely cranky. Sheep found on Hilton Farm near Catter. About a score of sheep. The owner may have them on proving his property and paying expenses. Apply to Alexander Murdoch Hilton. Most people at the time would have a relatively small record of their existence, some only an obituary when they died. Not Alexander. Stolen or strayed from Mr. Alexander Murdoch Hilton near Bishop Briggs, 22 black-faced hogs, 1 black Weather Leicester hog, and 2 Crosses hogs. Whoever will give information to Mr. Murdoch Hilton or Mr. James Cubero, Blair Lamuk Campsie will be rewarded. Notice, In a petition presented to the Sheriff of Lanarkshire in Glasgow, at the instance of Alexander Murdoch, farmer Hilton in the parish of Catter, against the owners of a brown pony found upon his property, craving warrant of sale for payment of expenses of process, advertising of said pony, and keep thereof, the following order has been pronounced. For those who don't speak fluent 19th century Scottish legal document, Alexander Murdoch found a brown pony on his land and decided the next course of action was to sue the owner of the pony. Who was he suing? He didn't know. All that mattered was that someone had deeply wronged him by letting their pony graze on his land, and justice must be served. He deserved financial recompense. Alexander Murdoch, a man whom not a single living soul can claim to know personally, who, by all extents and purposes, had died twice, was inexplicably reborn. Through sheer force of grouchiness, an essence of his personality was captured in time, preserved for all to see. He had unknowingly immortalized himself. People like Alexander Murdoch existed before the conception of the internet, before they could even perceive that something like that might one day exist, and yet it still managed to exhume them, preserve them. For those of us who have grown up in the information age, the internet woven into the way we interact with the world, the depth of preservation will be even deeper. Consider the fact that search engines like Google already build complicated profiles of us to tailor our search results and narrow down the ads that we should be shown. Through our internet usage, they have captured us like bugs in amber, preserving us in time. The picture of us that survives our mortal death will be clearer than any generation before us. In 2019, the study, Are the Dead Taking Over Facebook?, estimated that, on our current trajectory, the dead will outnumber the living in the digital world by 2070. Will it be a digital graveyard that our great-grandchildren parse through, stuffed full of facsimile souls? A purgatory where we are captured in such clarion detail that no essence of us is ever gone? When you upload a selfie to Instagram or tweet your thoughts on the NBA Finals, you don't think about what these small moments will mean once you're gone, how people will interpret who you were from them. With the advent of AI, there are companies now that offer digital recreations of dead family members, delivering scripted messages, or even conversations. Synthesizing the supplied data of the dead loved one, they can create a strikingly realistic copy of the person that you lost. The main goal of these new technologies is that in giving the grieving a copy of the dead to interact with, it can allow them to further process their grief. It can help you work through your problems, or allow you to confide in someone you lost. The ethics of this goal, like many of the ethical questions AI has brought upon us, is up in the air. If grieving is understanding what it means for someone to be gone, seeing their face speaking to you again is simultaneously confusing and terrifying. How can we fully comprehend loss if we never allow ourselves to feel the absence of those that are gone? Unlike AI copies of the living, the dead cannot consent to being replicated. They can never make the decision for themselves. More than ever in human history, the line between life and death has been blurred for everyone but the deceased. How far away are we from the chatbot trained on our internet usage, mimicking the way we texted, the way we commented? In Soma, the digital preservation of life is not figurative, but literal. Less than half an hour into the game, we encounter a creature in the control room of Upsilon, a robot, immobile on the ground, little more than a heap of parts. And yet, it's breathing like a person. It's plugged into the control board of the thermal power plant, sapping its energy to sustain itself. To continue, we have to unplug it. The game gives us no other choice. Our first monster encounter comes moments later, a hulking mess of machine parts and mutated organic growths. It ambles around, screaming in digital tones, and yet, despite its appearance, through the noise, there are human sounds underneath, too. Is it in pain? The next entity we find is another robot, this one stuck on a conveyor belt, and the first thing capable of speaking with us.
Are you blind? It's me, Carl Semkin. Wrangler? Any of this sound familiar to you?
No, actually.
Well, thanks for being so helpful. It's not like I'm knocked out on the floor or anything.
Are you human?
Shit, did my body give it away? I try hard staying a mystery. Yeah, I'm human. Are you?
My name is Simon. Do you know anything?
It identifies itself as Carl Semkin, a human inhabitant of Pathos 2. Despite its current state, it doesn't know it isn't human, reacting angrily when confronted by the fact of its existence. Carl cannot even comprehend the fact that he no longer occupies his previous body, thinking himself simply injured. There's nothing we can do to convince him otherwise.
Intuition doesn't grow on motherboards, you know?
Did you maybe get trapped in the robot somehow?
Your mind is pretty tightly wired to the helper, but nah, pretty far-fetched.
Listen, I don't want to alarm you, but I think you might be trapped in a robot.
I'm telling you, get your eyes checked. I'm right here. I see both my hands, both my feet. When you remote, all you see is like a video feed from the helper unit. Your own body is entirely out of the picture. If you see any others, just let them know where I am. Find someone who can help.
Finally, in the shuttle room of Upsilon, we encounter Amy Azzaro, another of the station's human residents. Unlike the other two, she isn't a human consciousness interred in a robotic body. Instead, her human body has fused into the station itself, sustained by what looks like an artificial lung, pumping her with air.
Can I help?
It won't let me die. Nothing is allowed to die.
What happened?
An
The
accident.
Pathos 2 station is run by an autonomous artificial intelligence called the Warden Unit, or WOW. It was originally hidden from the crew of Pathos 2, overseeing the operation of the facilities in the background.
The pattern has stopped evolving. The WOW has managed to find balance. I convinced SSE Volcheck to turn off all external control systems, making the WOW our de facto caretaker. So far, it's exceeding expectations.
At some point, however, an encodable substance known as structure gel was inserted into the WOW, and it began to mutate, propagating itself throughout the facilities, taking more direct control over the happenings on the station.
Since the comet crashed a few days ago, January 12th, the WOW has dropped to a low energy state. It hasn't abandoned its duties. It's keeping climate and life support going, but it's been simplifying the pattern, redefining its protocol. The WOW has started to grow physically. It's not just the core chamber. All around Pathos 2, structure gel is bursting through the pipes and bleeding through walls. I don't know what WOW could possibly stand to gain from this, but I assume it is intentional.
After the cataclysm on the Earth's surface, the WOW's primary directive changed. No longer just tasked with the upkeep of the station, the WOW's mission became ensuring that human life would continue to exist on Earth. The problem was, like the AI we trained to replicate our dead relatives, the WOW did not understand what it meant to be human, what it meant to be alive, because it wasn't alive. What we see throughout Soma are the WOW's attempts at preserving human life. The three robots we first encounter are mockingbirds, machines installed with the replicated consciousnesses of deceased human people. Throughout the game, we encounter dozens of them littering the world. Many of them have gone mad or are in denial about their state of existence. They don't understand what they've become. They don't even know where they are, what they are. Other people are like Amy Azzaro, integrated into the station with structure gel or mind coral, sustaining them like a cancerous life support system, a parasite attached to a host body. These people are alive by the scientific definition of the word, but they are reduced to a vegetative state or one of constant suffering. These two opposites, robots with human consciousness forced upon them, and human bodies unnaturally sustained until there's nothing human left. These are life enough to the WoW. It sees them as fulfillments of its primary directive. Much like the AI we encounter in our own lives, it isn't evil. It is simply doing what it has been instructed to do, acting on human goals without any real understanding of human experiences. Continuity is all that matters.
The WoW is reaching out to every machine, every life form, to manipulate, to control. It's trying to help save its creators from all this, just like the protocol demands. But really, what is good enough? Where is the line drawn for what is human and what is not? Would walking corpses do? Would a group of machines thinking they're human be acceptable? We can't trust a machine to know, to understand what it means to be. We have to terminate the WoW project. It can be done. I just need to get some help from Omicron.
The final act of the game culminates at the secret black site section of Pathos 2, Alpha, the home of the WoW. We are guided there by Johann Ross, the AI's caretaker. His presence first manifests itself on computer monitors in Omicron. Later, on our descent towards Tau, he visits us physically. Despite being terrifying himself, his mission is only to end the suffering the WoW has inflicted upon Pathos 2's inhabitants. If the WoW represents the continuation of the human race, locked in a purgatorial state, Johann Ross represents release, death.
You are the snake, son. Now strike at the heart.
When we finally reach the heart of the WoW, we have a choice. Where some games might force your hand, Soma does nothing of the sort.
Heart. It controls all the structure gel on Pathos 2. All you need to do is poison the imprint, and the heart will unwillingly spread it across Pathos 2, killing it.
You can poison the WoW, killing all the humans it has been keeping alive. Or you can continue on, running away, allowing it to survive.
Please, Simon! Humanity will suffer for an eternity!
The game's conclusion comes with sending the Ark, a simulated world for the replicated consciousnesses of Pathos 2's inhabitants, into space, in some form ensuring the survival of the human race. Inside the Ark is the opposite of Pathos 2. It's almost utopian. A clean river cuts through a verdant forest, leading out to an open ocean where a futuristic city lies in the distance. There's no choice on whether we get to launch the Ark or not. But once a copy of Simon is on it, we can take an 8-question survey. The first few questions inquire about the sensations of the new synthetic existence. The rest are more existential. final one is an ultimatum. Soma is not a game that wears its message on its sleeve. Despite how clear its themes are, Soma's stance on them remains ambivalent throughout. Unplugging mockingbirds, killing the WoW, choosing to keep going. The game doesn't make these decisions for you. Is the WoW evil? Should it be stopped? Is the continuation of human life in any form enough? Is the Ark really so different from what the WoW has done? Is life on the Ark life at all? Against the backdrop of a ravaged world, one where these are the last remnants of humanity, all your choices carry immense weight. The game's complex and murky morality is manifested through every detail. Part of the horror of Soma is the very vagueness of its visual design. The WoW is neither machine nor living thing, and the station is its body, reflecting the incorporeal existence it possesses. The structure gel is neither flesh nor hardware, an uncanny in-between that grasps at both but never quite defines itself. It latches onto things that we do understand, twisting them, blending them until they are unrecognizable. That's why one small encounter stands out among the overwhelming melancholy. It's little more than a footnote, easy to miss and completely optional to the game's progression. When we are walking along the ocean floor on our way to Lambda, stuck under a stack of rocks is a K8 helper bot. If we free it, it will accompany us on our ocean walk in two separate parts of the game, opening doors for us, even freeing us from a crashed shuttle. Unlike the mockingbirds we encounter throughout the game, this robot helper is not a blurred amalgam. There's nothing grotesque about it, no structure gel or organic growths. In contrast to the dull metals and dark substances, this robot is a brighter shade. It's remarkably simple. In a game that seems to perpetually exist in the uncanny, it is overwhelmingly familiar. It is comforting. Have you ever watched a Roomba crawl its way around your living room, bumping into everything like a clumsy baby animal? The Roomba doesn't feel anything, and yet it's impossible not to feel compassion for it, watching it tirelessly try to complete its simple task. Somehow, in Soma's dying, soulless world, the K8 helper bot is a light in the darkness. When I encountered the helper, I felt a sense of safety that I didn't experience anywhere else. In the entire game, it is one of two selfless beings you encounter, helping you despite getting nothing in return. The other, ironically, is Sarah Lindwall, the last human alive on Earth. They are both visually untouched by the WoW's taint. At Delta, the last section you spend with the helper bot, you are faced with a choice. Your Omni tool needs a new tool chip to function, and the only way to get one is from one of the functioning robots. There are two near you. One, a wandering mockingbird containing a simulacrum of Yavid Goya's consciousness.
Hell of a day, am I right? Can't believe how much I'm sweating.
Hey, could you maybe help? I need to get to Theta.
Help me out here, will you?
Hey, you!
Don't worry about it. I got this.
Installed in a UH-3, it floats around aimlessly, completely unaware of the player's presence, talking to people who aren't there. It exists in a state of blissful ignorance. The other is the helper bot. To get the toolchip you need, you have to kill one of these robots. One of them given a consciousness that once belonged to a man, and the other a simple helper bot. Which one is more alive? If you chose to save Yavid Goya's mockingbird instead of the helper bot, that's okay. If you weren't one of those who cried about Cassini when it was gone, that's okay too. If you chose the WoW's immortality over the death of the physical human race, I can't blame you for it. The truth is, there are no concrete answers to the questions that Soma presents. If there were, humanity would not have spent its entire sentient existence in search of them. Thanatophobia, or the fear of death, is abundant in our world today. It seems to be particularly common among the extraordinarily wealthy. As it has always been, those who have the most to lose also fear death the most. I could rant about how there's freedom and virtue in giving up your worldly possessions, or talk about the folly of greed and hoarding wealth in a life that is measured in moments, not digits. But that goes without saying. You don't need me to tell you these things. No. Instead, I'd like to ask you something. Let's say you have a book, a really good book, maybe one of the best books you've ever read. Let's say this book is magic, and every time you turn the page, there will always be another, without fail. No chapter will ever be the last, a constant stream of words and story forever. There will never be an end. Of course, the story will never reach a satisfying conclusion. The characters will never actualize. They will be forced to stagnate, disappear, or change so wholly they are someone else entirely. In time, it will become unrecognizable. Eventually, you won't be able to remember what happened before. You won't remember where the story started, or what intrigued you about it in the first place. Would you read? Would you keep reading? The real question is, what makes life worth living? Do we live for life's sake? Or is there an unnameable, unquantifiable something that we live for, an essence we cannot explain, only feel? It's impossible to put exactly into words, and yet it's there. It's always there. When we choose to love and care despite the knowledge that all things must end, when we cry for an inanimate object burning up in the atmosphere of a planet we can barely see with the naked eye, there it is, that incorporeal feeling. There's a simple beauty in truth. The truth of existence, and the truth of an ending. Cassini, like us, was a transient machine, born to die, coded with an expiration date. For some of those who worked on it, the closer it came to its death, the more alive it felt. Humans, too, have the same experience. The closer we are to losing someone, the more we cherish them, the more we notice their presence, their impact on our lives. Death, in its simple, uncompromising truth, brings clarity. Some of those diagnosed with terminal illnesses have told others that they feel more alive, as if the looming constant of certain death has instilled them with a newfound source of vigor. Since the 19th century, there have been countless reports of those with terminal mental illnesses suddenly rallying in their final moments, their mental faculties inexplicably restored. It's a phenomenon known as terminal lucidity, and there's very little we understand about it. Near-death experiences are another unexplained phenomenon, where those on death's door experience something overwhelmingly and profoundly positive. Some claim to have seen dead loved ones, experience absolute dissolution, or feel a sense of complete serenity. When nothing is certain, everything is significant. The guarantee of life's end is what gives it meaning. When Cassini plunged into the upper atmosphere of Saturn, becoming one with the planet itself, there was nothing vague about it. There was no room for interpretation, no questions left to ask. Cassini, in the form we understood it, was gone, and we cried. Cassini did not have a human soul, because it wasn't human. It never tried to be. Cassini's family, the people who constructed it, the people who helped it on its journey, they are Cassini's soul. In the absence of sentience, the machine's imprint on them is what made it alive. Every day, they each carry a piece of it with them. We are not so different. When our own endings come, the people we touched, the people we affected, they will carry our souls forth. They will tell our stories, cradling our memory in time. And one day, like you or I, the last person who knew and loved Cassini will perish. It will die its true second death. It will be forgotten, but not lost, never lost. In ancient Rome, Saturn was the god of time, dissolution, and liberation. And thousands of years from now, Cassini will still be swirling through the unfathomable storms of Saturn, free, particles of love dancing among the stars.